Hi, welcome to our next cooking demonstration with the Houghton and Witton Village Community Shop. Always got to get the branding in. Going to do a butternut squash curry with some homemade Indian bread. Just one couple of things before I start. The first is, obviously if you're going to try and do shopping in a small store, you need to be flexible. So I went in with the idea of getting lentils to a dal. Normally have them in, just sold out that day. So instead I went for butternut squash. That was good value, that was only £1.50. So I'm going to use that instead. And the second thing is, for people who question the price, it's the exact same brand of chopped tomato is much more expensive in Waitrose. So the shop does represent good value every now and again. So I've got some onions, 5 mushrooms and a pepper, tinned tomatoes, tinned chickpeas, some flour to make some Indian bread, some butter because I love butter in curries, and some spices. So I'm going to start by peeling half of this. You don't need to see me peel half of this, that would be a really boring TV. So I'll see you when that's done. Right, so in here, I have peeled and chopped up half a butternut squash to about that size, that's about 1.5 centimetres squared. I've put some whole masala spices, but a bit of curry powder, just keep it fairly plain, in there, a bit of salt. And I'm just going to roast it off for a quarter of an hour, give that a nice charring. In an oven about 180. So now we're moving on to making the sauce. So I've got 1 onion, 1 mushroom and 1/4 of a pepper just roughly chopped. Just going to put a bit of ghee in a pan. Just put those in there and just gently fry those for about 5 or 6 minutes. Whilst that's frying, I'm going to make up my spice mix. So I like this pack of kind of whole seeds to go in. So that will have cumin, coriander, fennel and black onion seeds. So that's a nice nice tablespoon of that there. And how hot you want it, I add a few dried chilies. Some turmeric, give it a nice colour. Big dessert spoonful of garam masala. Right, they've been gently frying now for about 5-6 minutes and I can really smell the ghee. I'm now going to put that spice mix in. And again, just fry that through until that's really nice and soft. Whilst that's cooking away, I'm going to make the dough for the bread. So in here I've got 1 cup of half and half, so that's half wholemeal flour, half plain flour and some salt. I like it like that. And just kind of mix it up. And just put about 2 tablespoons of oil in. 1, 2. I use olive oil for this, it's slightly richer. Then just add hot water until you get a nice dough formed. You can use milk or yogurt, I like doing this, but we're trying to keep the cost down a little. So just a splash of water. And then just stir that around to get a nice dough. And then what you need to do is knead that for 8 minutes. Obviously if you've got a machine, you can knead it with the machine. But I forgot to get mine out, so I'm going to knead it by hand. Again, you don't really need to watch me do that. I shall do that on my own. Well, so there's some lovely smells. You've got the butternut squash nearly roasted in the oven. You've got the dough made that's just going to rest for a little bit. And you've got the vegetable mix that's just been frying away gently. Now I need to kind of crack on with the sauce. So first things first, going to pop some tinned tomatoes in here. And to make a nice sauce, the same amount of water. So that's the vegetable and spice mix cooking away with 1 tin of tomatoes and the same amount of water in there. Obviously if you've got coconut milk, you can put that in there, but we're trying to keep the cost down. You can just leave it like that. I prefer a little bit of body to mine, so I'm going to put a stock cube in. You don't have to do that. It's a personal choice. As a lot of you will know, I did big batch cooking during COVID, and one of the things I discovered, because you had to work out a way of cooking for a lot of people in a domestic kitchen, was when I did a curry, it was easier to cook the sauce separate from everything else. So that sauce I've made up, I'm going to blitz and make that into the sauce. And what I'm going to do now, I've got 3 mushrooms, 1 onion, and the rest of the pepper. I'm just going to gently fry that Don't need much oil, so I'm just going to use one of these sprays. Just gently fry that with some spices, just to give it a kind of a different flavour at the end. So everything's cooking away nicely. I've taken the sauce off the pan and put a knob of butter in it. I've just blended that up to give us a nice creamy masala sauce. Taste that. Always important to taste. So for me, that just needs a little bit of more seasoning in. Right, so that's the sauce. In that pan, we've dry fried the onions, mushrooms, and pepper. You know, if you want to put potatoes or carrots or tomatoes in, use whatever veg you want. I've just used some medium curry powder towards the end just to loosen it up and give that a bit of flavour. I'm now going to pour the sauce on top. Your drained tin of chickpeas in. So let's just tip the butternut squash in. In here, we've got 3 levels of spices. So we've got the sauce, which was cooked up with a spice mix and then blitzed up. You've got the vegetables that were then dry fried with a curry powder put in at the end, and you've got the butternut squash that was cooked, roasted with whole spices. So that should give us a lovely flavour. Now the next thing to do, yeah, you can have that with rice. I like mine with bread, so I'm going to make some of the bread. For the bread, pan on, whatever oil you want. I'm going ghee, because that's me. Take a little bit of the dough and either by hand or just using a rolling pin, going to roll it out so it's nice and flat. So that pan's nice and hot, so I've just popped the dough in, just a minute or two either side, just until it puffs up. Fry up another bit of bread to have with this, but there you have a lovely roasted butternut squash curry with whole milk patties.